I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk with folks from the VTuber community on their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. Chanerrie has joined us. Hi.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. I do appreciate it. Please introduce yourself to everybody.
Hello everyone. I'm Ren, but you may know me from my Twitch channel, Twitter, and my persona, Chanerrie. I'm a small Twitch streamer, and I'm currently 20 years old. I'm known to be a hyena bunny bounty hunter VTuber, but my branding I go by Hanui or a bunny VTuber. It really isn't much to know about me aside from other things that I will be exposing in the future.
Yeah.
When it comes to my lore video and whatnot.
Have you been working on it?
Yeah, I actually have been.
Yeah. How close are we to seeing it?
I would say just a couple months out,
Mm,
maybe.
Putting the final touches on it, or just
It's more of a taking a look at it, see if it flows nicely. Just we need some voiceovers and all that stuff. But
no.
for the most part, it's maybe halfway done. 25 to halfway done. Yeah.
Cool.
Just around there.
Cool. And is this something that the lore video? How long did it take for you to put together, as far as making it to where you really wanted it to give a message?
Well, as I said, it's only just about halfway done. So we're just going through the process of deleting scenes and like really reworking some details and whatnot. It is animated, so that's why we're taking our time with it.
Yeah.
We started just about like around the first week that I started streaming, which was March 5th, around that time. That's when we like initially first started on it. We're not completely done, but there are some things that I'm really excited for everyone to check out. It's a like passion of mine to like kind of, I guess, critique little things, that little projects that I've done, and I'm just very excited for it to be fully finished.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous as of right now, but
I mean, we can hear it in your voice how excited you are.
I am really excited about it.
To get it out there. So you only been VTubing for just a few months yet. I mean, not maybe about a half a year.
Yeah, just about. Yeah. I had to take a quick break because of some personal things that had gone on. There was an incident that I had posted about in a now deleted post because I didn't want the associated parties to either be identified or for them to, find out that this was from me. But I had a incident with more of like a stalker kind of situation.
Yeah.
And it kind of caused my mental health and people around me, like their safety. I was worried about them. And so I kind of stopped streaming just for a little bit because I just could not take the mental drain, I guess you could say, of having to put on, a smile for everyone while all of these different things were happening around me. It was a very unfortunate situation, and I really, really, I apologize to a lot of the people that had been collateral damage for that incident. But overall, it was a very eye-opening experience to just like human interaction, mannerisms changing, generational trauma that I've gone through, that my nephews and my nieces will be going through because they also were involved in this, and it was really unfortunate. So from that standpoint, it's kind of, I guess you could say, I'm not trying to make people feel sorry for me. It's just, life happens and all that stuff. And so technically, if we are being literal, I guess I've only been streaming for 4 to 6 months, aside from the fact that, of that incident. But all of that mental struggle I'm currently dealing with, which I'm very happy now to know the people that I know and be friends with the people that I've gotten close to, and everyone's giving me such great support. And I'm just happy that a lot of people are safe.
You say you wanted to apologize for folks in the collateral damage. I'm not going to press and see what happened, but I'm sorry you feel that you have to be sorry for that because it wasn't your fault.
I know it wasn't. It's just that I really am sorry for the people that had to see and witness things that, might be considered, traumatic,
Yeah.
or they might trigger a past, trauma that they might have, or a past pain.
Right.
And that whole process was very, very tiring, very draining. And so now it's kind of just me trying to get back up on my feet, me trying to, I guess, put trust in people not to be the same way as this person was
Mm.
when they were harming my friends and my family and myself, if that makes sense. It's just very difficult to trust people, I guess, at the moment. But I've gotten better. I've gotten over it,
Good.
for the most part.
Well, I mean,
There are still times where, oh, I'm sorry,
no, no, no.
continue.
I'd say there's got to be times where it's still going to creep up on you. Um,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, and there's the times like 4 o'clock in the morning when you're up by yourself. You just gotta, you start thinking too much. That type of stuff happens.
Extremely.
But the fact that you've gotten right back up to it shows a lot of steel, in my opinion. Um, some folks would have just run away and tried to stay away from it and been too burnt to come back. But sounds like to me you've basically said, you know, I'm not going to let what that happened in this person mess me up, and I'm not going to let them win.
Exactly. I had known them previously
Mhm.
from a past relationship of some sorts, if you could even call it that, and I had specifically put it in like a Google Doc that I had posted, and then now it's deleted, obviously.
Mhm.
But back then, this person was involved with me romantically,
Mhm.
and it was just such a struggle to really believe that they would be up to these kind of things, that they would do this kind of stuff. But at the same time, while I was in this relationship, if that's what you could call it, ownership, right?
Mhm.
Um, they kind of were, they were just a very, very horrible person. And it is not surprising that um, this happened, but it's very disappointing,
Oh, yeah, it is.
This person, yeah, this person, I had dedicated almost 3 or 4 years to them, and it was just a whole situation that I think could have been avoided if they just, were honest with me. And so, when it came to the stalking and the destruction of my property and the physical, mental, emotional um, abuse that they kind of were, inflicting upon me,
Right.
it kind of became too much. And so when I eventually told them, hey, like, I can't do this anymore, I need to be free from like the chains that they had put on me, and like the ownership that they were trying to possessively exhibit,
Right.
like day to night. Like as soon as I woke up to the moments that I slept, it felt very, very smothering to have to cater to his needs.
Mhm.
And so when eventually I found my community, in my Discord, the Field of Flowers, eventually, like, I began to learn a lot of self love, and I got to meet so many people that, were so kind and gave me such kind words about, my situation. And there are closer friends that I have, my mods and all that stuff.
Right.
But even just people that, are there and they react to posts that I make, and they constantly, send memes, or like they just say hi to people, even if it's just, like a little hello, or just them being there
Mhm.
and tuning into my stream sometimes when I do stream, or when I have streamed. It just, that is so helpful, and it kind of has been easier for me to
Mhm.
kind of jump back from, such a huge and such a major setback in my life.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
now that I have other things coming up, and I'm learning to adult and adapt, and sort of get used to my very, very strange schedule
Yeah.
now, it's coming to be a lot easier for me to heal. And so I guess taking this time now to really reflect on it, it's not really a situation to laugh about, but I guess I could smile and say that, like, I survived it, which is
Oh,
really nice.
yeah. I don't know if I've said this very much on this podcast, but my paying job is at a police station
Mm.
at the front desk and records. And unfortunately, I see a lot of situations along these lines of people, and they either just stay with it and accept it as a fact of life and don't try to get out of it or things get worse. To see that you've taken these steps is a major, and I hope people realize what a major step you've taken to do this, because it's not easy. No matter,
Yeah, it isn't.
no matter what anybody says, and they say, well, why don't you just do that? Why don't you just shut up? It ain't that easy. Um, until you're in that situation. So major, major props to you for that, and it's onward and forward from here. Um,
Yeah,
now,
thank you so much.
now, when you got into VTubing in the first place, uh,
Um,
why?
so that's a really great question. Um, Initially I didn't want to be a VTuber.
Mm-hmm,
I had always, I guess, liked being not known. When I was a kid,
mm-hmm,
I was not really one of those people that I guess had a lot of friends. I moved around a lot. I was always going from school to school, state to state,
mm-hmm.
country to country. So it was a little rough growing up.
If you said
And
planet to planet, I would have had to stop the conversation at that point. I mean,
yeah. But
well, wait a minute here. Now I know you weren't able to really get any roots down anywhere.
yeah, I really wasn't. And so when I was a kid, it was kind of easier to just, I guess, let great opportunities pass me, if
Mm,
that makes sense.
right.
Whenever people would want to hang out with me, hey, your shoes are pretty. Oh, your hair is so nice. So, I wouldn't say much because it kind of became, a very, very easy to. It became a very easy habit to, I guess, ignore
Mm-hmm,
people that were being nice because prior to my moving, I had a lot of behavioral issues as a kid. And so it was very, very hard for me to distinguish whether someone was being genuinely nice to me or if they were trying to, get something out of me,
oh
try to
yeah,
get me to service them in a way
yeah,
that would only benefit them before I have to leave again, if that makes sense.
oh
And
yeah.
so
It's a
when I
trust
was a kid,
issue.
it was, huh?
A trust issue.
Yeah, basically,
Yeah.
basically. And so when I was a kid, I kind of just like to stay on the outside and observe. And I guess I'm still the same way when it comes to observing and listening and um, taking in everyone else's considerations and learning other people's habits and being really just on the outside.
Mm-hmm,
It's easier that way. And so I've learned to get over it, obviously, but
mm-hmm,
it just is something that is rooted in me. And so when I first discovered VTubing, I think I was watching who was I watching? I was watching a VTuber, but I don't remember who it was. Oh, I think I was watching Shoto, the
okay.
the VTuber. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm,
talking about?
yeah.
The really big guild master rogue
Right.
VTuber.
Right.
Him. I was watching Shoto, and I really liked his content, and I thought he was funny. And then I seen some recommended VTubers, and the one VTuber that really spoke to me, as in this person felt real, this person felt like I've known them for a long time, was Kenji.
Mm-hmm,
Son Kenji.
mm-hmm,
He kind of was the main reason that I got into VTubing in the first place. And I guess there was also just the aspect of playing video games as a kid. Like
right.
it was really the only escape I could find out
Mm-hmm,
of, moving a lot and family issues and just issues in general that I had been experiencing as a kid.
mm-hmm,
And so those games, they were constant, like I could rely on them to be there for me constantly. They were almost like a friend. And so when I started watching Kenji, I actually felt the same way about him, and I don't know why. I don't know him personally, and it just like was an instant click. It gave me the same type of emotional healing as playing games does. And so I looked up into, VTubing. I looked it up. I researched a little bit more and, came to realize some certain things about him. And I loved what I saw. So eventually, connecting my knowledge of different games and my favorite game specifically, which is the Devil May Cry series, but not the older Devil May Cry series. Just there's a reboot that was made of
right.
the DMC game, and
Yeah.
it's just one reboot. There's only one game plus a DLC, and that game is my favorite. I don't care how many people disagree with it, but I really like that game. I think it's amazing.
Hey,
And so just mixing that and just a bunch of religious background and Kenji, I was like, this is perfect. So when I was coming up with my persona, I figured I should make her very very similar to Dante from the Devil May Cry like game that I really liked, and also I was trying to think like, should I be a VTuber? Should I not? It really was just a money, financial, and
right.
moral thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And so,
go ahead.
continue.
Go ahead. I think, yeah, so it was a money moral thing. How did it come down to a moral thing?
Um, Really, the moral aspect of my becoming a VTuber, that pre-VTuber journey,
Mm,
um, it became a moral thing because there's commitment that you have to do to streaming. You don't have to stream every day, but there was a commitment that I saw with Kenji,
mm,
and he had a beautiful audience already, and now he's even bigger with how much drama has been happening where people are kind of clowning on him or trying to hurt him, trying to harass him, that stuff, right?
right.
Now it's more like commitment, dedication, loyalty to your community, integrity, and honesty to yourself. And I guess at that point, when I, was becoming a VTuber, it was becoming increasingly difficult to be honest with myself because of certain, past traumas, as I told you, and
Right.
a bunch of different, very, very different habits and social interactions that I was having in person. And so this persona that I have, which is, Ren me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of have to separate her from myself. And though oftentimes I do find myself leaning more into trying to escape into her.
Mm-hmm.
And she is very much a fine line or holy grail kind of escapism for me. Just thinking about how amazing she is, even though she's been through so much in her lore, it is so refreshing. It's almost as if I can play a different character every day on stream or off stream if I'm texting someone that admires my content. I get to be someone else for a day and not have to think about my own issues, which is really nice. And so now it's like I am trying my best to get back into it, be more dedicated because I am dedicated to it and I'm passionate about Rin and myself and her and becoming, more of a not popular but well-known streamer, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
It just is a journey that I am ready to take. I just am very slow at it because of major setbacks. But on the bright side, Rin is persistent and she perseveres and she doesn't give up, regardless if that's a good or bad thing. So, I mean,
Well, so do you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. I mean,
yeah,
it's you know, it, obviously you've been through a lot of stuff. I mean, and I'm not going to ask you to list it because it's been you've got the scars. You don't need to be showing them to everybody if you don't want to. But
yes,
the fact that you've been able to bounce back, basically, for lack of a better term, tell them where to go, and then come back and do this, not only creating Rin and continuing to develop Rin, but also creating a group, a chat group that I imagine has become a pretty good environment for them. Are you setting up kind of a safe environment for chat in a way that they can maybe escape along with you?
well, yeah, of course. I try my best to be as accommodating as possible, and I try my best to include everyone in things that I do. So I'm always telling them my next steps
Mm-hmm.
moving forward. With the situation that happened with my stalker and me having to go offline for a little bit just to recollect myself and sort of, I guess, nurture that side of me that had been hurt for a really long time. Um, I am always including everyone, and as I always say, whether it's a person that's always been in my community for since day one, or if it's someone new or someone that just is popping in just to see if they like what they hear from me, if they like to see the game that I'm playing, if I have the energy that they like, if my personality is what that what they imagine it to be or what they are more drawn to in a
Hmm.
streamer. I'm always letting them know, hey, you don't have to see my stream, you don't have to watch me, you don't have to follow me, but we do have a Discord. As long as you aren't, these certain things, as in like,
Right.
really bad stuff. You don't hurt people, you don't do that stuff. As long as you aren't any of those things, our community is welcome. We do accept people that are underage because of the fact that there's no age discrimination. We just ask that, we know that so that way you are more comfortable. And for the most part, my Discord and my community has not really been giving me a problem,
Hmm.
if that makes sense.
That does.
And everyone is very chill, very relaxed. It's all mainly people that I interact with, not on a daily basis, but I interact with them for the most part. And it's just a place where anyone really could just join and say, hey, we're just gonna use this server because we want to. And a lot of people actually have invited their friends, and joined game chats and vibe chats just to listen to music, even if I don't know who they are. Um, you know,
Yeah.
and it's actually it is a little bit riveting because sometimes I might not know who this person is. But eventually, if I do see someone that I don't know who they are and they just joined because they heard about me or heard about, the server from a friend, I always make it a thing to, introduce myself, say hello, be nice to them, welcome them, get to know them and all that stuff, make them feel welcome. And if they happen to leave, then that's okay because as I said, the Field of Flowers really is just for everyone,
Mhm.
and there's not going to be really a certain number that I'm going to cap my server to. There's not going to be a specific, requirement for you to be in my server. Just as long as you aren't, a bad person, then like everyone's welcome. And my motto for the server is just, not every flower is unique. So that's why there's a field of them.
Mhm.
And like I'm the gardener, I'm the mother, right? Because
Right.
I'm like the ultimate like cherry blossom tree. That's me. And then all my little flowers are all hanging out together. And so when people, follow, if they do follow and they do like sub or whatever, they just make it a thing for them to be committed to my channel. I always am like saying like, yeah, your other relatives, your other little cherry blossoms or little cherry saplings, they're all in the Discord if you'd like to join. I make it a thing so that they feel welcome
Mhm.
because, as I said, looking on the outside for most of my life was very, very disheartening when it comes to whether or not I wanted friends. So now that I have a community of people that I can talk to or they can talk to each other and they can make great friendships and they can catch streams whenever they can, it just feels more like a home than my actual home.
You're a very fascinating person.
Thank you. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
No, it's a good thing. It's a good thing because
Okay.
because you continue to point in the in direction up, no matter even though you've had plenty of opportunity to not. Um, and that's quite a a trait to have when because I can tell you at about 3 times your age that I am, it doesn't always happen even later in life that you're able to keep going in that general direction. But it doesn't seem like you're very easily sunk. And if you do take a back step, you look and take a couple steps forward anyway. Um, that's really something. And with what's happened with you, to be able to go on and be entertaining to people online, showing your talent with people, that seems to be a huge step. Was it really for you the first time you turned that microphone on?
Was it for me as in
Yeah.
my first stream?
Was when you
Yeah,
real
I would say so. I
yeah.
had a lot of fun on my first stream. I really enjoyed it and I continued because I loved it. I personally don't really care about numbers.
Hmm.
As much as I would want it to become like my main job or just like a hobby that pays more than my normal job, right?
Hmm.
I still think that it's mainly for me. Like I watch back old VODs or I watch back clips of myself and I sometimes laugh at myself too because I can't believe I said that or I can't believe like they caught this. on my
Yeah,
stream. So
yeah,
sometimes like I will even forget that I'm streaming when I'm playing games, and I guess that just makes it a lot more fun, you know?
yeah,
Just to really it's like I'm streaming like to no one, you
yeah.
know, which essentially does sound sad, but
Mm,
it's it really does help me, I guess, thinking about it that way
yeah.
because I think that playing games by myself is fun. I like to do it all the time. But if I'm streaming to people and I have the same energy like I'm streaming, you know, to no one, and or if like I'm streaming to a million people, you know, I like to keep up the same energy and the same comfort and the same vibe, I guess you could say,
Hmm.
because as much of an introvert that I might be, I do like making people laugh. I
Yeah.
have a couple friends that like constantly I'm always cracking jokes and they laugh all the time, and it just gives me a serotonin boost. It's almost like dopamine, like an addiction to make people happy and to make people feel comfortable and to make them feel loved, I guess you could say. So that's why for so long I stayed with the person that I had my incident with because, you know, it made me feel very, very happy when
Hmm.
this person was happy. And I guess it kind of carried on into my streaming career, but it blossomed really into more of a positive trait
Hmm.
because you could say, you know, I was like a victim of, you know, of course, of like a unhealthy, toxic, abusive relationship. So that's why
Right.
I choose to sacrifice things, or I chose to sacrifice things for this person to make them happy, to get the pain or the mental, emotional, physical abuse to stop. That is half true. But now that I'm not in any of those kind of situations, it I guess you could say it had a metamorphosis.
Yeah.
That type of pleasing personality trait
Yeah.
blossomed really into just like a beautiful butterfly. I guess you could say is really the only metaphor I can think of at the moment.
It's a good one.
Because now, yeah, because now I just anytime someone laughs, like I find myself like smiling too, even if I'm not laughing. I just think that, you know, entertaining, if that's what you want to call it, right? The
Yeah.
entertainment
Yeah.
industry, which is what I'm in, um, really is just it is losing its purpose, I guess you could say. And I'm trying to stay with my purpose, which my main purpose in the beginning was to tell stories, to make people laugh, to give them the same escapism that I experience every time I turn on my mic and hit stream, you know, or hit record or either or. That escapism really is the kind of it is the main purpose that I stream, and it is the main purpose that I continue to push forward because really right now the only way is forward instead of backward because if I go backward there's really just nothing for me
Mm.
and I want more, I guess you could say.
Well, you deserve it. With everything that's happened and continuing to go forward, you have a voice that absolutely. You do not have a poker voice.
What does that mean?
That means that means when you're smiling, we can hear it.
Oh.
It's very easy to tell when you're smiling, so you can't hide that. So don't even try. But it's very obvious when you talk about being able to entertain people and and enjoying what you're doing. It definitely does come out, and that is wonderful. And you use the term twice. That is perfect for what you're doing, and you use the term blossom, which I guess would go back to what you call your Discord. Uh,
Yeah, exactly. See, full circle, full
yeah,
circle.
and you've been able to grow and blossom with this, and maybe find a few things you didn't know you had, or that didn't have that you wanted to have but didn't know you could do. Um, I say this a lot, and I believe it's true that people are not the product of their circumstances, but they are the triumph that emerges from those circumstances. And you, Rin, are a triumph.
Yeah, I like to thank well, first of all, thank you for your kind words. I have not heard that by from anyone yet, so that really is encouraging me to do better, strive for more, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that is very similar to a saying that I always, um, a motto that I always repeat to myself every morning when I give myself affirmations, which have to now because it does. I figured out that it does actually give you, it makes your day better and it gives you serotonin. So every morning I think this quote is from Tupac. I don't remember where it's from, but I heard it once in I think fifth grade when when I had finally settled into a place in California with my family. It's like a rose, the rose that grows from concrete, and that kind of just stays with me. And I guess since then I've written, poetry about growing from harsh circumstances, and I reread that all the time just to see like how much I was going through when I was a kid. And I guess that just hearing that from someone, whether it's, from you or just anyone, like that's actually very, very helpful. I have not been having the best week, so I appreciate it so much. But I guess that's kind of why I am the way that I am with my growing mindset, like forever changing, always trying to be positive, always trying to find the good, even in the darker situations, is because of, what you just said to me, and also growing the beautiful rose from concrete is really just, I guess you could say, the only real reason why I continue and keep going is because I want to be that rose. Even though the roses have thorns, they're still very beautiful, and full circle, they blossom. So,
Yeah.
There's only really one way to go, and it's to grow and to go forward.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, you're already that rose. You're a very easy person to root for, and I will continue to root for you.
Thank you.
When you got some stuff coming up on the channel, please let us know so we can update everybody. And please,
oh yeah, of course,
please keep in touch with me so we can keep this going forward. Okay?
Yeah, of course.
Thanks so much for coming on.
Of course, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.